Lisa Youngdahl. I'm up here at Water Street Studios in Studio 16. Right now we're looking at the outside of my studio. I'm right when you come upstairs. So this is some of my artwork. It's colored pencil for the most part. And if we walk around, I'll show you the other pieces I have on the exterior walls, and then we'll step inside my studio. If you look at this wall, this is all my artwork. It's all based pretty much on original photographs. You'll notice I work a lot on black, and I do a lot of musicians also. I love music, and I have no musical talent of my own, so I just kind of like to capture the postures, the lighting of seeing a live performance. So now if we step into my studio, I'm going to take off my mask since we're here by ourselves in the studio. I originally moved in here in 2010 into Water Street for my graphic design business. I am a professional graphic designer and also teach graphic design. This is a poster I designed. It was my own little pet personal project for a fundraiser for the World Health Organization. So all the proceeds from the sale of this poster go to the World Health Organization. If you look for Lisa Youngdahl Art on Etsy, you can find the poster. My graphic design business is Resolution Creative. If you look at some of these walls, have examples of jobs I've done for clients, magazine covers, annual reports, logo design, and also some of the awards that I've won. And we've added shelves in here to showcase some of my other colored pencil artwork. And I have a little project I wanted to show you today. I wanted to kind of go through the steps of creating a colored pencil drawing on black. As I mentioned before, I do a lot on black. The colors just look a lot more vibrant on there, and I think it just has a lot more pop when you're working on black. Plus you don't have to draw in a whole background and everything because the black kind of is a solid and adds a lot of mass to the drawing. So I'm just going to sit down here. And here's a photo that I've used before to teach colored pencil drawing. This is a stock photo that's I had the rights to use. I usually for my own work use my own photographs. But in drawing on black, you don't want to start out by drawing actually on the board. I always draw on tracing paper first and then transfer it to the board. You can either just, color the back of the paper with white and that transfer the white to the board, or you can use transfer paper. This is like a drafting material, transfer paper right here, and then I would trace over this to get the drawing on the board. You can see how that would work. So I'm not like creating my original drawing on the board and erasing a lot because it's hard to erase from blackboard. So I kind of get the shapes down first before I transfer it. Also, in doing colored pencil, you want to draw on the board and test your colors first. If I just use the colored pencil directly on the board, blackboard, it doesn't look as vibrant as doing it on white. You can see here the yellow looks totally different. I hope the camera's picking that up. It's a lot brighter on white than on the blackboard. But depending on the effect you want, you might want to still draw sometimes on black. After I transferred my drawing to the board, the rough drawing, I draw at first a tonal value in white. So anything that I want to pop and have really vibrant, I lay down the shading in white first, and where it's darker, like again, I'm referencing this photo, I'm not coloring it in with white, or at least it's a lighter version of white. So here's one I've already started. And you can see there's a lot of variation in color, and for that reason, I use a lot of layers of different colors of pencils. It's not just all coloring it green. If I look at my original photo, there's yellow started here. It looks a little more yellow, and then it starts fading to green. So because of that, there's white here on the board where I want it to look more yellowy, and then it'll fade off to actually the black. And also, working with colored pencil, you have a lot of layers, and that gives you that painterly look. So instead of just drawing with green, I'm going to start off with yellow. That's why I have this yellow pencil in my hand. And then I'll overlay it with blue, maybe add more yellow, just different combinations of color. Colored pencils are made up, these are Prismacolor color pencils, and they're wax-based, and the color is more translucent than a solid color. So you do get that, the other colors showing through, and it gives you a more richer color, more of a painterly look. So I'm gonna start on here to demonstrate to you how I draw that. On this one I've already started. Again, where it's white, I'm just gonna start going over. Usually you want your strokes to be very tight. I'm drawing a lot of little circles here. Depending on the texture of what I want, what I'm drawing, I might do cross hatching or straight lines. But this one I'm just kind of filling in a solid area of color. So I'm just kind of going over it with little circles. And I'm just going to do a small area here to show you how the colors go down. And I'm just kind of fading out to the black. And then as I want it to look more green, I'm going to use an indigo blue over it. And for this demonstration, I'm using colors that are pretty common in a small package of pencils. And there you see, just, you know, as you probably learned in grade school, blue and yellow make green. So again, just tiny strokes going over it. And I'm going to go over the blue again with the yellow, just because what I want is a more yellowy green, not a bright grassy green. Doing colored pencils kind of time-consuming, tedious process. For areas that I want to look a little darker, not only do I have less of a white background, but I might use a complementary color to darken up the area. So for this, I'm going to use a reddish brown. As you remember, if you've studied color, complementary colors are the ones that are opposite on the color wheel. And red is a complementary color to green. And that'll help tone it down a little too, and bring a little more interest into my drawing. It's still looking a little too green, so I'm going to go over it a little more again with the yellow. And you can see as you get more of the pencil on here, the colors blend together a little bit more. Now if I decide I don't like some color on here, if I've made a mistake, gotten the wrong color on here, you can just lift it up with a little piece of Scotch tape. I'm just adhering that on there a little bit and it'll lift up the color. But you want to be careful not to rip your board. You can also, you can see how there it's lifted up. You can use a kneaded eraser too, and that won't tear at your board like a standard pink eraser will. This will help pick up the color also. Put a little more of the yellow in there. So considering all the layers you put down, it's kind of a long process to create a colored pencil drawing. It takes a long time to do. I'd say first get your white basic drawing down there. Make sure that's accurate before you go on and add the color. I also wanted to show you my latest work. I just finished this week. And I'm using these same techniques I used in the black board on this. It's on a white board, but since this area of my photo was so heavily in shadow, I took the picture around dusk, I used black magic marker down here for this whole lower portion. So drawing on here kind of mimicked the black board, but then I used the other techniques like just drawing on regular whiteboard up here. So it was kind of a combination of the two. Also, to create this grass, I used a little knife first and scraped away at the board to get those strands of grass and then colored them in. So I hope you've enjoyed the studio tour, and once things open up, come by and visit me.